KAMIKAZE Collection has a brand new formula in ISM. It's called 3.0. What is it? How's it compare to the other formulas? Stay tuned. We're going to go into all those details next. Hi, I'm Todd Cooperrider with Esoteric. Like I said, we're here today to talk about the brand new ISM 3.0 from KAMIKAZE Collection. All right, we're going to go into all of the details about the product, but what I want to make sure you do, stay tuned to the end of the video because we're going to go into an actual application to show you how to get the most out of your ISM 3.0. So let's go back in history a little bit, back when my hair was a little bit more brown and a little bit less gray. We brought KAMIKAZE Collection into the United States. But even before that, the first products that I got to test, ISM was the first coating that I tried out from the Japanese company KAMIKAZE Collection. At that time, nobody knew about KAMIKAZE Collection. There was no worldwide distribution anywhere. It was just Kai over in Japan, one-man show. I wanted to try this stuff out. And when I tried it out, I realized this is such an incredibly good product that I had to bring it in the United States, even though we had to go through a process of completely building a brand from the ground up. Well, now fast forward, KAMIKAZE is available all over the world, and we are still the exclusive distributors here in the United States. But when I started using it, I was blown away by the performance of it. The ease of use, those of you that have hung out with us here on the channel long enough, you know that ease of use for me is paramount. A coating doesn't have to be difficult to work with to be good. The water repellency properties of it were fantastic. It was slick. It looked amazing. Back then I had a metallic gray Acura TL, not too dissimilar from the color of a car we're going to be applying to. And it just looked ridiculously good. Had that, you know, warm, wet, high-end Carnauba kind of glow to it. And that was the main formula for a lot of years. It didn't go change. Well, then KAMIKAZE came out with ISM 2.0. Really, I think that one should have been named something completely different. It was really developed for like the Nordic countries where they have extreme weather. They've got crazy kind of chemicals for the winter to battle all the salt and stuff. And that one wasn't easy to apply. Here in the United States, we just continued on with 1.0, didn't sell much of the 2.0. The rest of the world adopted the 2.0. Well, now that the guys at KAMIKAZE Collection in Japan have come up with a new 3.0, the other ones are being dropped, and we're gonna have that exclusively. All right, what are the differences? Well, typical with Japanese fashion, you know, it's going to be an ongoing development process to tweak the formulations to make it a little bit better. Your base chemistry and stuff isn't all that different from what it was before, but with it, we get even better water repellency. And ISM 1.0 was a very hydrophobic, you know, great self-cleaning properties. The new 3.0 is even better. And one of the other things that they worked on was on the application. 1.0 was easy. 3.0, I would say, is even easier. The feedback we've gotten here from the detailers in the shop, they love to apply it. It is a straightforward process, no muss, no crazy things that you have to do to get it to work. Some of the other changes to it, you know, I guess they call it anti-soiling, anti-staining properties of it. You know, stuff sits on the surface. It can stain a coating, any kind of coating that's out there. This is even better. It's one of the improvements that have been made to it. Now with ISM, where does it stand in the KAMIKAZE lineup? Well, ISM is kind of like the Goldilocks product in the lineup. You know, you start with a Miyabi, which is the best seller, given the price point of it. Then you step up to ISM 3.0, and then at the very top, you have got the Zipang. But ISM kind of takes the best of all three of those coatings, put it together in a nice price point. And with ISM, you're gonna be able to do all your painted surfaces. You can do headlights, you can do taillights with it. You can do plastic trim, textured black plastic, cowlings by the windshield wipers, any of your plastic trim on SUVs and things. That stuff can start to look kind of chalky, or even in an extreme condition, it can get white when it gets sun faded. ISM is going to turn that right back to black, and it's gonna stay that way for a long time. All right, speaking of a long time, durability. What are we looking at with ISM? ISM has always been in that 24 to 36 month a time frame. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the effective life. How long is it still working for you? I don't care how theoretical long a coating can last. Once it loses its long-term good looks and its self-cleaning properties, coating's doing you no good anymore. That's why we don't talk about crazy long terms here at Esoteric. We are using this stuff on a regular basis, have been for well over a decade now. We see cars, come through that have been done a couple of years later. We know what coatings do and what coatings don't do. Now, with ISM, a couple things to keep in mind. One, if you're doing ISM, you're just doing a single layer product on it. ISM doesn't like to be layered on top of itself, at least if you're trying to do them back to back. But if you wanted a multi-coating process on it, you can take Miyabi, lay that down as your base layer. Then an hour or two later, you can top it with ISM. You're gonna have people that says, well, I've got brand X coating, can I put ISM coating on top of it? The only way you know is to find out. I would say probably not. You're going to have compatibility issues. It's designed to work well with Miyabi as a base layer and it on top. Don't try to outthink the chemical engineers on this. If you want to do a multi-layer, do Miyabi, do ISM on top of it. So it's a really straightforward process, and then it's just as simple as maintaining it after. So what are we going to do on the maintenance? Well, for one, we're going to wash it regularly. You can't put on a coating and just expect to do nothing, walk away from it. You have to keep after it. Clean it up, use a good pH neutral shampoo on it. If you get any kind of water spotting, Kamikaze has water spot remover that's designed specifically for water spots on coating, so it's not going to strip the coating during the process. Then you maintain it with your maintenance spray. Kamikaze makes Overcoat, which is designed specifically for maintaining their coatings. That product is going to be on there to be your sacrificial layer. Anything happens to it, you just reapply it and you're good to go. And by using that, it's going to extend the life of the coating itself on top of the surface. As we've talked about in many videos over the years here, stay away from quick detailers, stay away from waxes. You're not going to improve the looks of your coating by putting yet some other product on there. A quick detailer or a rinseless wash that has its own polymers is going to take away from the benefits and the characteristics of the coating. Stay away from those products. pH neutral shampoo, and use your regular maintenance product on it, particularly be an Overcoat, or if you were a Polish Angel fan, Cosmic Spritz, I like that stuff. You can use that on top of there. I've tested it, works quite well. All right, now when you order up ISM 3.0, what comes in the box? Obviously, you've got your 30 ml bottle of ISM 3.0. 30 ml bottle. With this product, it goes a little bit further than a lot of coatings. It just keeps on spreading and spreading. So you probably get 3 applications on a regular sized car out of one bottle. You get the dropper that comes with it. I actually prefer our pipettes, because this, you're gonna use it once. It's gonna be hard to get it all cleaned out. It's best to just pitch it. You've got these, they are inexpensive, throw them away, no big deal. Now with it, you also get your applicator block. Kamikaze does a fantastic job. They pre-slit the sides of it, so when you put your cloth on top of it, you can tuck it down in. I prefer either a real micro suede, these are nice, but I prefer a micro suede type cloth, or you can use the microfiber style applicators. You have a lot of options, but at least it comes with it. And you get, I believe, 3 cloths here to do your application. The other things that you're gonna wanna have with you when you do it, you're gonna wanna have like a Geon prep here to prep the surface before doing it. You wanna have your gloves, and you wanna have your 2 different towels. We got a short nap towel for our first wipe, and you've got a longer nap towel for your second wipe. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to our test car here. We got a beautiful AMG, belongs to a friend of ours, and we're going to apply it, take you through all of the tips and tricks so you can get your most out of your ISM. Okay, we're here at our AMG GTS, ready to do our application. We've got all of our products ready. This thing has been prepped. The least you want to do for prep, you want to make sure and wash it. You want to make sure and hit it with something like Geon iron for chemical decontamination, and then we're going to wipe it down with prep. You don't have to polish a car beforehand. If it's something a little bit older, it's got some crunchiness and stuff to it, yes, you're gonna clay it, you're gonna polish it, and you're gonna get it completely ready. Now what we're gonna do is, we've already cleaned this, but I'm gonna do it again. You know, we do a liberal application with our Geon Prep, and we wanna get everything off of the surface. If we did any kind of polishing, you run the risk of having polish residue still in there, and that stuff can prevent a good bond. Just like if you had a car that you used a lot of quick detailer on, or it's been waxed or sealant, all that stuff needs to be stripped off. You need squeaky clean paint to get a good bond. If the bond isn't good, your durability is going to suffer as a result. This is a brand new bottle. We just opened it up a little bit ago. But if it's your second time you're using it, a couple warning signs that you want to have. You open it up, you take a look at the threads, and if you didn't wipe it off the previous time, you're gonna have tiny little shards of, basically it's glass that you have there. If that gets in your applicator, you're gonna scratch everything up. So when we open it, we're gonna clean everything. When we go to close it, we're gonna clean everything. When you're getting ready to apply, give the bottle a little bit of a shake before you get into the application process. And with the new ISM 3.0, it's kind of, you know, slanted down here at the bottom. If you knock over a bottle of coating, you're only going to make that mistake once. It gets really expensive if you knock it over. So be careful where you're placing that. All right, we've got our pipette. We've got our KAMIKAZE applicator with a cloth applied to it. How many applicators you're going to go through on a car? Depends on how big the car is. Something like this, I'll probably do one applicator, maybe two. If I get halfway through the car and I notice it's starting to get a little bit grabby, both on the application and the removal, I'm gonna swap out to a fresh applicator. All right, now when we're applying, you know, I'm gonna go in here, especially the first round, I'm gonna apply a little bit more to the surface than I normally would, because there's nothing on there. I'm gonna do just a section down the middle here. And I'm just straight line motion back and forth. You know, have a little bit of overlap in there, not a tremendous amount. And this goes on really easy. The big thing that I'm feeling here, and I would go up in this area. Normally I go all the way up, but then I'm off camera. I don't want to make it too difficult for everybody. But now I'm going to look at it in the light. I'm going to check to see if I missed any spots. You know, particularly over here on the edge. I'll just go up through here. And I notice I got some on the glass, no big deal. I'm gonna take my time. I'll go wipe it off the glass. You're always gonna get it a little bit extra somewhere on the car. You don't have to panic. Just take your time, wipe it off. You know, I didn't do any cross hatching on there. You just wanna keep it straight lines. You wanna keep it even. If you're doing it, let's say you're doing it on a hood, and you notice it's just starting to feel grabby, and you look at the light, it has a different look to it, it's time to apply more product on your applicator and start back up. And when you start back up, you want to try to start at the end. Avoid picking up your applicator in the middle of a panel, or you run the risk of having any kind of high spots, which could be dark spots. After it cures, it becomes really, really difficult to fix that. So keep everything a nice flowing motion on here. Now, some people, they've been trained to look for when a coating is ready. This isn't really that kind of coating. None of the KAMIKAZE coatings are. It's a timing event. With the ISM, you're gonna move it a little bit more quickly than what you would with Miyabi. Miyabi, I can do 2 or 3 panels at a time, no big deal, and remove it. With ISM, I wanna do 1 panel at a time. And if I'm doing a big hood, I'm probably gonna split that in half. Now that we've got it on, we wanna do our removal. And we've talked about this many times before in other videos. We've got our 2 towels, brand new towels. I've got the tighter nap one for our first wipe. I've got the heavier nap one for our second wipe. We're gonna toss these when we're done. Cost of doing business when it comes to coatings. Why you do that? Well, because that coating is gonna harden up on the surface and then it becomes scratchy afterwards. All right, now we're ready for a removal, and I'm just gonna do small circular motions as I'm removing. If you do straight line motions, it's not going to come off as easy or as consistently, and you run the risk, once again, of high spots. And there's hardly any effort to this whatsoever. I'm not putting any pressure down on the panel. You don't need to. Just enough to get it removed from the surface. Now I take my secondary towel, I go back over. You've watched the videos before we talk about the second pass or second towel in particular. We're going to wipe a bigger area because when we're wiping here, we're pulling it onto adjacent panels. I want to make sure I get all that off of the surface. So I'll wipe out here a little bit further. I'll overlap this section, overlap on the glass, just to make sure there's no coating residue left over. Simple as that. Very, very little effort involved whatsoever. Now, when we're doing our coating, like I said, we're going to do one panel at a time. Typically, you're going to do your upper panel surface or your upper surfaces first, and then you're going to work your way down the side. That way, you don't have a side that you just did and you need to reach way over to the top and you have fresh coating there. If we did a Miyabi coat layer first, we'd wait about an hour, maybe two, to come back for our layer of ISM. Once we do the entire car, it takes 1 to 2 hours to get through most of its drying. After that, if you need to let a customer go or you want to go take your car for a drive, that's fine. You just want to make sure that the car stays dry for 24 hours. Avoid washing it for about a week. Coating continues to cure over that time, and you want to make sure that you're not putting any kind of harsh chemicals on it. Now, if you wanted to apply your sacrificial layer, your maintenance product, your overcoat, you can do that within a couple of hours. You don't have to wait till that first week or so when it's done, but you do want to give it a little bit of drying time. Let me talk a little bit about the time of day. Here in Columbus, it's supposed to be about 95 today with a heat index of about 100. It's going to be really humid. It is early in the morning, air-conditioned shop, no problems. But later in the day here, with our garage doors up and down, the humidity is going to go up quite a bit. As the humidity goes up, your removal time comes down. So you want to be even quicker. So a big hood like in this GTS here, I'd probably do half the hood if I'm in humid conditions. So if you can time it so that you're doing it in the cooler conditions, the better. It's not necessarily going to interfere. You just have to be quicker with your application process if you do it in those kind of humid conditions. Now, when you're doing plastics and stuff, same thing. Just apply it to the plastic, give it a minute or two to sit there, wipe it off, and that's all there is to it. Really simple, really straightforward process. As you can see, there's like little to no effort whatsoever. It's not like one of those coatings I put it on a section this big and immediately have to remove it. Kamikaze coatings are easy to use, and easy to use makes a big difference for you. If you're a DIY person, you're not worried about any problems. Your risks of running into problems is less. If you're a detailer, you know that you're going to be able to provide a better end product for your customer because you have lower risk. Once we have this on, we get it outside, it's going to look fantastic. The water repellency is incredible on this. So if you're like me and you like a coating that's got more slickness, high level of hydrophobic properties, you're gonna love this. I put ISM, although it was 1.0, on my wife's new GLE 450 last year, and I did what I tell people not to do. I told you earlier, you can't just put it on the car and then do nothing to it. You're gonna run into problems. Well, I think the first time I washed my wife's car was about 5 months after applying the coating. Not only did it look like I just coated it, I had no staining on it whatsoever. Hydrophobic properties are the same. We've gone through a winter, cleaned it up, still looks fantastic. Now with this, it's even better than what the previous one was. Okay, hopefully that answers the questions of what ISM 3.0 is, who it's for, what the difference is between it and the previous versions, and how to get the most out of your application process. However, if you find you have additional questions or comments about it, leave it in the comment section below. I'm the person that goes in, answers all the questions. Be glad to help you out. If you have used it and you want to add some direct feedback for others to learn from, make sure you do that as well. Well, hopefully that gives you a better understanding. We always appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Esoteric channel. Thanks, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.